Hello, and welcome back to Productive Dragons channel, where we do unboxes, plan with me's, and other things. And if you like that, please consider subscribing. Today, I'm going to talk about what I read in the month of April. So, for the month of April, I managed to read every day, and I read 22 books. Only 2 of them were for book clubs. So, let's start it off with my first read of the month, which was Little Eve by Katrina Ward. At first I ended up giving this a 4 star. And at first I wasn't really digging it. I was getting a little weirded out, and then it started getting better and better, and I'm going, ooh, I like this. I'm not a big historical fiction person, so this was quite interesting. But I ended up liking it. I gave it, like I said, 4 stars, so that was something that definitely interested me. I was amazed how at first it started, and I was like, and then it got better. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Next, I read Talking to Dragons. That is the last book in the series that I had bought. It is a middle grade fantasy. This is part of the Enchanted Forest Chronicles. I gave this one a 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. Patricia Weird actually did a great job with this. I enjoyed it. Matter of fact, it was funny. I think she said she started with this book, and then the other 3 books came about because of this book. But I admit I did enjoy it. This was a great series. So yeah. Next, I read A Sliver in the Darkness by C.J. Tudor. This is the first time I've read C.J. Tudor. This was some short stories. I gave it a 5 star. I enjoyed every story that was in this. This was a very interesting book. I can't wait to try some more things. I think I've actually gotten a book by her through, I want to say, Unplugged Book Box. So I can't wait to try any more of her books. So that's definitely going to be on my list of authors I'm looking out for. The next book I read was T. Kingfisher, A House with Good Bones. Now, I gave that a 5 star. I absolutely enjoyed this book. It was interesting how the story went. I couldn't complain. It was very interesting where she took the characters and how she took the characters. Next book I read was Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. This was good. I gave it a 4 star. It was very interesting. This is part of a duology. I have gotten the second book now, so when I start it, I hopefully will finish the next book. But this was a really good one. I enjoyed it. Even though it is a young adult, it is still something I enjoyed, and it's a great fantasy. Next one was Soulmate. I actually got this. I actually listened to it because I got an art from NetGalley, and I did the audio for this one, and I really enjoyed it. I was surprised. I gave it a 4 star. It was a very interesting story. I'm glad I listened to it and had all the information. But I enjoyed very much, and I then started seeing the history, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. And it explained a lot, so I enjoyed it. I don't want to give too much away. Next, I attempted another kind of sci-fi, Veronica Roth. I've never read from her, and it was just a novella. Uh, I was trying out some sci-fi because I don't do a lot of sci-fi, and so this one I gave a 3 star. I wasn't so. It was okay. It wasn't nothing. And if this is part of a series, I'm not interested in reading the series. But for it to be a novella and everything, it was rather easy to read, but it wasn't anything that rocked my boat per se. Would I give her another shot? Probably. But we'll just have to see. Next, I read V.E. Schwab's Extraordinary, which is part of the Villain series. This is a little bit in between the first book and the second book. I'm glad I read the first book, so I had a new history. But if you pick up this without knowing the story, they do give you a brief history of what happened. between the two characters and why this is going on. The artwork was done very well, so I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4. So yeah. Next, I read Don't Fear the Reaper by Stephen Graham Jones. I enjoyed this. This is the second book of the Indian Lake trilogy. This was really good. It continues with Jade. It also brings some of the old characters from the first book, and you get some new characters. I did enjoy this one. I gave it a 4.5. I found it much better than the first book, but I did say when I did the chainsaw is my heart is a chainsaw, excuse me, which is the first book. I was a little thrown off by the ending, but I was wanting to continue the series, and so far he's doing a bang up job. So I can't wait to see how he's going to end this series, because it is supposed to be a trilogy, but it's going to be interesting to see how he ends it and where some of the characters are going to go. Next one I read was Animal Farm by George Orwell. And I was shocked that I actually liked it. It was very scary at how it predicted things and how things were looked at. I gave it a 4-star. Like I said, when I read it, I'm sitting there just going, yeah, yeah, it's just weird how you look at it in a different light and you're like, yep, this is what the world's coming to. This is what the world was. So yeah, this was interesting. Next, I tried Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1. This graphic novel, I gave it a 5-star. It was absolutely beautiful, drawn, written well. It was a great story. I'm hoping to keep going with this series. I don't know how many books are in this series, but I would love to own the books because of the beautiful artwork and how it was going. So hopefully, I know my library's got volume 2. I'm not sure if it goes any other higher ups, but I will definitely be on the lookout for it. Next is The Thing Between Us by Gus Moreau. I gave this one a 5 stars. This was a great horror book, in my opinion. I enjoyed the story and where it went, and it was just like, whoa. So definitely interesting from beginning to end for me. So yeah, I gave it a 5. Next, I read Burnout for one of my clubs, which was the R&J Club. This was their nonfiction, because this was a nonfiction month. Burnout by Emily and Amelia, and I'm not going to try to pronounce her last name because I'll butcher it. It was very interesting. I gave it a 4-star. I did learn a lot from the book, which is interesting. I might try to see if I can get this physically because it would be nice to annotate. At the time, I think I could only get it audiobook style. So, yeah, that was something that I would love to get. The next book I read was Eric LaRoche, The Trees Grew Because I Bled There, collection short stories. This is the first time I've read him, and I have to say, I love it. I cannot wait to get some more. I gave it a 5-star. This was absolutely wonderful. I now see why a lot of people read him. So that is one thing I would love to get a hold of. Some of his works as well, because he's going to be one of those authors I see that I'm going to read. He's horror, and this was a bunch of short stories. So I enjoyed it. Next, I read The Dunning by Keith Thomas. This was a arc that I received from NetGalley. It is a horror book. This one was really interesting, learning about a Dunning, and I've never even heard of that until this book, which was quite an interesting book. This is also the first time I read Keith Thomas. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4-star. It is interesting and how this affects the man it went through, as well as the family that's having to deal with the dad that has Alzheimer's. It's going to be this was truly an interesting book. I enjoyed it. Next, I read Dust and Grim, Chuck Wendig. This one was interesting. This is a middle grade fantasy. I gave it a 3-star. It was cute. I had seen it on Book Outlet, and I thought, If one of my libraries have it, I'm going to grab it from there, and I'm glad I did, because had I bought this, I would have been very disappointed, because it's a cute story, but it's not something I would gravitate reading again. But like I said, this is a very cute story. I enjoyed it, but it's kind of a sister learning about a side of her family she didn't know about. So yeah, the next book I read was Nora Roberts' Legacy. This was for my library's book club. I actually enjoyed this. I believe I gave it a 4 star. It was interesting. Uh, I normally, when I do Nora Roberts, I normally do her J.D. Robs. This is, I think, the second book I've ever read by actual Nora Roberts under her, normal name. But all in all, it ended up being a pretty good suspense book. And that's what I would refer to it as, a suspense. So yeah, this was interesting in ways I didn't think I would enjoy, but I ended up enjoying it. So I can't, I don't know where I would go with other stuff of hers, but because I did it for a book club, that's the only reason why I would read this book. Normally, I just go for her J.D. Robb stuff. So next, I got this was another NetGalley arc, which was The Travelers by Brett Riley. This is the second book in the Freaks series. I actually have the third book, but this was an audiobook. The narrator was great. The narrator for this one was PJ Morgan. He did a wonderful job again with this series. It's very interesting, and the story has gotten even better, and so I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. This is a young adult fantasy slash maybe horror, depending on which way you look at it. So yeah, this was ended up pretty good for me. Next, I still can't believe I got this from an arc, but in the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune, I gave it a 5 star. The gentleman who read this book was Daniel Henning, and this was absolutely great. I love T.J. Klune. This makes the third book I've read by him, and it's absolutely enjoyable. It is interesting how the story plays out. I don't want to give too much details, but it is just wild. And everything, the narrator did a wonderful job bringing this to life. Next, I read What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. I gave it a 4 stars. I actually enjoyed this book. This is the first time I've actually read from this author. I believe, I don't know if this is her first adult. I think she does a lot of young adult. But this mystery was good. I did kind of see some of the things happening, but it didn't take away from the reading experience, in my opinion. I know some people would be like, this was me. It didn't. So since I'm venturing, because normally I do horror and paranormal, and so for me, this is kind of nice to venture into places that I don't read much. So for me, this was good. Next, I read Lone Women by Victor Laval. This ended up being a really good book. I've read one piece from him before, which was a novella, but this one I enjoyed. I'm glad I got it in Nightworms. It is historical fiction slash horror, but it was really good. I mean, I absolutely enjoyed it from beginning to end. There's a little bit of slow spots, but other than that, it was still really good. I will definitely be. I haven't tried The Changeling yet. That was another full book by him, but I haven't read that one yet. I'm thinking of trying to grab it if my library has it. But this one was a good one, even though it was historical. It was back in the 1800s, I believe. So yeah, this was something that I really did enjoy, and I would recommend to anybody. And last but not least, I also read Into the Windwhacker Wilds by A. Deborah Baker. This is the third book in the Up and Down series. I gave it a 5 star. It has been a very cute series. I've enjoyed it from beginning to end. I think there's a fourth book out, so I will hopefully the library will have that one. But I'll be out for the lookout. But that was a really good one. So it's just continuing the adventures of Zed and Avery. So I've enjoyed them. They've been wild. So I'm going to go to few, past me to show you what my TBR popped up with. Okay, I got 3 tic-tac-toes. Right here, here, and here. These 3. These 3. And of course diagonal. All right, so for sci-fi, I read Art Conspirator. For person face on the cover was 6 Crimson Cranes, a modern classic. Animal Farm. I gave 5 stars to A House with Good Bones. For the reread, I changed it. I took in the December reward for mood read, and I did a mood read, so that one I did Don't Fear the Reaper. And for library theme, I switched it up with a favorite genre, which is my favorite genre right now is horror. So that book that I read for it was This Thing Between Us. So there we go. That means I have 3 rewards. I already used these 3, so we will start here. Bring this over. Oops. Right over here. All right, we have 31 things. So we will start generating 24. Okay. All right, I've already got this prompt, double up one book for 2 prompts. I got that in February, so I'm going to redo it. Let's see here, 20. I just did favorite genre, so I'm thinking of skipping that one. Let's do 31. Use 1 book from last month. Okay. Next one, 13. $40. I had that well, I got that for the month of March. So let's do that one again, and it's 25. Nope. Get a music book. Nope. All right, so let's try again. 28. Rearrange prompts. Okay, it's been a while since I had that. Okay. And last but not least, didn't I just have 23? No. This one we have not done. So, audience pick prompt. Okay. It's a good thing. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do that one. I know how I do it for my drawing one. I don't know how I'll do it for this one. So let's go ahead and show the wheel. I'm going to renew that now. And we are going to get new prompts for the month of May. So, without further ado, the first prompt we're getting is published in 2010s. Okay, next one. 56. I have to have a 4.0 plus on Goodreads. It has to be rated that way. All right, next. 142. Set in the state I have lived in. Okay, so it's not actually lived in, but have lived in. So I have plenty of states for that. Less than 1,000 ratings on Goodreads. Ooh, good grief. Ooh, this is going to be fun. 107, which is a Black author. Okay, not a problem, not a problem. 46, middle grade. Okay. All right. 55, autumn. Okay. 66, no sexual violence. Okay. Okay. That'll probably be easy. And 135, classic. Okay. That's going to be interesting. We'll just have to see what happens. So now I'm going back to future me. Welcome back. Uh, in the month of May, I will be doing only one readathon, which is The Torment of Talons. There is no prompts to it. It is a readathon where you just read and you say what book you read, how many pages, and then they have some points that you just fill in. I will be keeping a list of everything and also the points that I get. So in next month, you will see what I will tell you. You'll know all the books because I'm listing them all, and how many bonus points I got for that readathon. Other than that, is there any books that you saw that you disagree with me on, or you thought, wouldn't mind reading? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I hope everybody is having a wonderful